Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be going over plumbing in the waistlines for the bathroom. I'm hoping to get it all done in one day. Let's see how it goes. Let's take a quick look at the bathroom. Here's the bathtub I chose, bath shower combo. It's a one piece, so I have no seams to caulk or anything. All I do is mount it into the framing, drywall around the top. Opposite the door, I'm going to put the vanity. Around the corner, I'm going to do the toilet, and then here is the plan. That's what it'll look like underneath the floor, and then this is what will be in the wall. So I'm going at this video a little different than the others. I'm just going to show all the work that I filmed throughout this process of doing the plumbing of the waistlines, and then I'm going to come back in the end of the video with the camera and give you an explanation of a lot of the work that I did along with some various thoughts. Enjoy. I just got all the plumbing under the house connected, so I'm going to give you a quick tour and explanation of what I did. It's really tight under here. I couldn't film it all in detail. It was terrible doing it as is, much less if I had to film it. That's why I did that time lapse. So let's take a closer look. It's going to be a one-take deal no matter what I say, right or wrong, because it's rough under here and it's dusty. Okay, let me just give you a pan of all of it to start with. And as a reference, that far corner where this pipe runs, that's up in the kitchen. So we'll start there. This is the drain line for the kitchen. That's 2-inch. That can handle dishwasher and a sink and a garbage disposal. So that comes down, connects 45 there into a TY into the main 3-inch line that runs out to the sewer. In front of that, and we'll back up in a second, the next thing that goes vertical right there, that's the toilet. So that goes up through the floor and is soldered into the flange. Those front two connections, those are both Ys. The forward one, right before it runs down into the ground, that is a line that's that back line that runs up. There's a Y there. One runs to right here. That is the vanity in the bathroom, and then some of the venting for the bathroom, and then that pipe, you see the Y there, that continues over. And the far thing, that little curved piece, that is the trap for the bathtub. And then this line here that you see with the elbow running up through the floor, I don't even know what I'm pointing at. Let me see. This one right here, that is the vent for the bathtub. So your vents just need to be, I think it's within 4 feet of your traps. So that is meaning that from that trap over to this Y, it's kind of hard to show you this stuff. This right here is the vent. So nothing's coming down through this. This is just to allow air to be pulled into the pipe to where it doesn't suck the water out of the trap. Kind of creates a vacuum, and it can suck the water as the water is pulling through. So, of course, this again, that's the vanity. All right, back to the main line. This connection right here, that's this pipe. That comes over, it's right here, and then goes up through the floor. That is the main vent, so that's venting the toilet, and then all the other vents connect into that upstairs in the wall, and we'll take a look at that in a second. That's the kitchen one again, and then right here we have the washer. So this is the washing machine, drops down through the floor, connects into this sanitary tee, and I put a clean out plug on the back of this. So I just got this sanitary tee with the adapter to put the clean out plug, so you can snake this whole thing out if needed. But you could also snake this from a number of places, but I went ahead and put that as just a nice large simple one. You can come from this access here and snake that out if needed. Of course, the ducts might be in your way, but you could pull those off or get under here however you need to. Plumbing's not a very pleasant job a lot of times. So this 3-inch line runs down, then there's an elbow here, it goes down to the ground and elbows and goes that way. The reason I dropped that down over there is to where you could come in easier, and that wouldn't just be coming right across that opening. You can see all this stuff, just to give you a reference, from here to the ground is less than, this is less than a foot. It's probably, almost a foot. So when I'm crawling around under here, I'm crawling around under all this stuff. So it's really, really tight. And people have asked, why didn't I put a vapor barrier down here? It is still, this is part of all the plan. I'm going to put it down here later. If I was doing all this work on top of it, I feared that I'd, rip it to pieces. Didn't know what I might need to do under here. I certainly didn't want to do the work and then screw it up. So I got to come back in here. I got to do some duct work. That's why that's insulation's coming down. That's where the duct comes out. But that's enough. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go over and show you on the other side where this connects into the sewer. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a second. All right, so this is looking back where we just came from. You can see right there, got the elbow that gets this down to the ground. I dug a little shallow ditch. I'll toss the dirt back over this eventually, but I wanted to show you first. So that just runs across and then goes right there. And what we have is a Fernco 3-inch bushing. It wasn't quite a perfect angle to connect into this. I didn't want to cut things and redo everything up in the front. Give me a second. So I've got the 4-inch is what came out of the ground. So I put a 4 to 3-inch adapter stubbed out a little short section of 3-inch pipe, and then went to this 3x3 Fernco fitting. And all that is a rubber coupling basically that has pipe clamps on it. So you just tighten that up. And it's a pretty close fit in there, so everything's good. It's next thing I need to do is start running the actual water lines. Here we are upstairs in the bathroom. The GoPro works great for this. I can show a lot at once without having to jerk the camera around too much. Here's the tub. You've already seen that, but in the tub I've installed the waste and overflow. So that is the drain, and then the overflow if your tub, fills up too much. Those go down into that trap that was on the very far end of all the plumbing that I showed. Here's the main wall of plumbing. I'm just going to show you from the bathroom side first, then we'll go to the laundry room side, and I'll show you the part that's behind the tub wall. So there is the toilet flange, and then of course, the water's going to go down, and it shoots this way. Then there was the vent that comes over and connects into right here. This is the main stack that everything else connects into except for the kitchen sink. That's on its own vent. Let's see. The vanity goes right here, so you can see that, the purple primer. There'll be a piece stubbed out there that comes through the drywall with a connector on there, so you have your P-trap on the underside of your sink that goes down, goes through the trap, and then goes straight into the wall. The venting for the vanity comes up and over into the main stack, and this vent tube right here is what comes over and down and connects into vent the tub. This is the back side of the outlet box for the washing machine. I'll show that in a second. Just to kind of give you a tip, some people will look at this and go, how do you know how to put all these different fittings? Which fittings to use, which diameters? All this stuff can be found online, or you can call your local code people when you're renovating a house or redoing plumbing in your house, and you can ask them how to do anything. They'll even come to your house and show you how, if you want to let them into your house. But as far as venting goes, or draining, so your actual waste lines, that means the water leaving, and then you've got your venting, which allows air to be pulled into the system to where water doesn't get sucked out of your trap. That's your trap. And all the trap is for is the water sits in that. So you'll see basically this shape in the back of your toilet, under your sinks. Any kind of fixture in your house needs a trap, and the reason for the trap is it basically acts like a cork on your system, and it doesn't let air come back out of the sewers, because you got to think of that. That's where the toilet mounts. Think of what goes down that hole. There's a lot of gases coming off that, because everything that goes down that hole goes out to the street into a bigger pipe and mixes with all of your neighbors and anyone else's stuff that runs down through those pipes. So it's not pretty what's down that hole. You've got everything in the sewer is off-gassing. It's creating methane or whatever else it is. I don't care what kind of gas it is. It's stinky gas, nasty gas. Technically, it's poisonous. If you didn't have traps, that air would come back up through your system and then come out through every one of your fixtures, your sinks, your outlet boxes. So some people don't have traps on stuff, and that's a really bad idea. The traps just keep that from happening, and then that's the purpose of the venting in the house. Two things: the trap plugs the system to where air doesn't come back out through it, and then the venting is what is where the gas goes instead. So right here we've got, let me see, let me just go back. Let me think real quick. Okay, right here. We'll use this one as an explanation. So this is the outlet box for the washing machine. When it hits the spin cycle, all the water comes down through here, through your trap, and runs out and dumps down. Right here, you've got a sanitary tee, and then a 1.5-inch vent for this comes up, goes over, and connects into the main stack, and this goes out and up through the roof. That's why you see a pipe sticking out of people's roofs. That's venting their plumbing, and you'll see multiple ones because you have venting for different fixtures in your house. In situations like this where everything's real close, you can put it all into one vent. You just have to make sure it's appropriately sized. So what happens is since that air that comes back out through the from the street where the sewer line is, that'll come back out, and it's going to want to come out, and it's going to come up this pipe. Some will go up that pipe, but some will come over here, and it's going to hit that water and stop. Then what happens is, since that's corked, it's going to go up, over, and out through the roof. That is why in the wintertime you smell stinky stuff sometimes, depending on where you live and how cold it is. You'll notice in the wintertime sometimes you'll smell this kind of sewery gas smell. I guess I don't know why it happens, but in the wintertime. But that's what you're smelling. You're smelling sewer gases, whether that's coming out of your septic tank or from sewer. So this is the same, whether you've got a septic tank in your yard or you're connected up to a city or county sewer. Another thing just to note, I don't think I mentioned this already, these are called sanitary tees. Another similar fitting is called a Y. Sanitary tee, it comes out in a 90, and a Y, it comes out at a 45, and it just sticks out like this. You can use the sanitary tee vertical, as in vertical, this input's vertical, or basically you can do it like this or like this. And you can have it flipped either way too, depending on what you're doing. For venting, you want it facing up because that's the direction the air needs to go. And down here, so this is the vanity, where the vanity dumps into it, you can see it swooping down because that's the way the water wants to go. But once you go here, you need the venting, the way the air moves, the air is moving out like this. So the air can either go this way or this way. Now, of course, air is going to move however it wants, but you just basically want to put all your fittings to where they face in the direction that the air needs to move in your venting, which is out the roof. Another thing to note is this sanitary tee, you can see it's in this vertical position. You never lay it flat. When you want to lay something flat, you use a Y. That's why everything underneath the house was either Ys or TYs. And a TY is just like a Y, comes off 45, but then it swoops out 90. So it's a bigger swoop. It's almost like a sanitary tee, but it's just a little different looking. You can look up, Google all this stuff if you're curious what any of the fittings are. So I think that's it for this side. We'll take a quick look at the laundry room side and end this. So that is the outlet box for the washing machine. Water goes down, over, out, vents over into the main 2-inch stack. And then the main 2-inch stack has two fixtures connected into it, which are the vanity and the bathtub. The bathtub drains through the floor, through a trap, hits a Y, and then the venting comes up, back up through the floor, connects over into it. Same thing for the vanity, comes up, connects into it. And everything is going to vent out through the roof. The only other thing I need to do waistline-wise in the house is the kitchen sink. That's going to come up, stub out, real low to the ground to where if someone wants to install a garbage disposal, they can. And then the venting is going to come over and then up through the wall and out through the ceiling. So that is it for the waistlines. It's basically done. Need to make some decisions on this window and the wall here before I can do that. So to make myself feel good, I'm just going to say that I'm done with the waistlines for now. Next thing I need to do is start connecting all of the supply lines, so all the actual water lines, make some decisions on exactly where I want to run things, whether I want to run certain things under the house, above the ceiling, or in the walls. I'm not sure exactly. That'll depend on a few things. So bear with me, be patient, and you'll see the whole process all the way to the end. Thanks for watching. There are all kinds of links in the description below, so be sure to check those out. Instagram, Facebook, my website, a link to an article written by a subscriber. There's a link to the full playlist of this whole project, as well as my other YouTube channels, and I'm sure other things that I'm not thinking of right now. Be sure to leave a comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. And also subscribe to my channel to follow along and share these videos with those who you think would find them useful. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.